On today's show,
took that job in January of 2022 while I was still finishing school. So I was a full-time student in Newman, and I was on TV doing that whole thing. And I was still 20 at the time, too. So all my coworkers would give me a bunch of crap that I couldn't go out with them after we were done working at the end of the night.
We are officially into the season of fall, and many people would probably make the claim as fall being their favorite season, and I wouldn't argue with it that much personally either. Winter, I have no use for winter in the state of Kansas. There are a few times during the summer that I'm like, man, it'd be nice to have a really cold day, maybe some snow, that'd be cool. And then I snap right out of it because snow is fun for the first hour. And then eventually it's just one of those, you have to drive in it, you have to worry about shoveling, and then you have to worry about ice and other people driving around you on ice. And if you have young kids, getting them in and out of the car with heavy coats. No use for winter in the state of Kansas. Not a fan. Spring is nice. You're starting to warm up a little bit, a little rainier, but you're thinking baseball, it's getting revved up. So nice. Summer's good. Obviously, it can be screaming hot, but at the same time, you have more water activities. You think about more adventures or vacations. So summer's always nice. But fall's right up there. It's hard to argue with fall being one of the top seasons throughout the year. And also right now for us with Kansas Sports Chatter, you're starting to get kind of a feel for some of those teams out there that are going to be really, really good and off to really good starts. You're starting to see a little bit more and more, and that's always exciting as well. It is Kansas Sports Chatter. My name is Cole Reif. It is a statewide high school sports show, heavily leaning on the entertainment side as we bring in guests and talk about their careers, talk about their performances, and also get a breakdown every once in a while on some of the players and also those teams out there that are making some waves. Look at the lineup for today's show. We have Cole Frank from Wabaunsee. He will be joining us, one of the student athletes and on the football team for Wabaunsee, for our leadoff question. Andy Brown, one of the newest KSHSAA covered writer. He's the staff writer for KSHSAA. He'll be joining us and talk about that outdoor volleyball match that he attended and wrote on at Mill Valley against Piper. Paige McCarthy with Manhattan High School, the golf coach coming off a state championship, will be our quality time interview. Tejay Cleland with KWCH in Ketchick, Kansas. He'll be joining us talking about his career. Ben Mitchum will be breaking down some high school football recruiting in the state of Kansas, including on the 8-man level. Lexi Bauer with Newman University and out of Maize South High School, and a part of the soccer team for Newman will be our next level talents. And then at the very end, we'll share one of our audio highlights from Jesy Strnad out of Belleville, as he'll have our radio sound toward the end of the show. Here we go. This is the leadoff question. It is today's leadoff question with Cole Frank from Wabaunsee football. Cole, your question today: who's the best player that you played against in high school so far?
Man, that's a tough question because, we play against a lot of great athletes in all sports we play every year. But I do have a list. But I narrowed it down to Tanner Heckel, definitely. He's one of them out of Linden. He was a stud. You could just tell he's so explosive and quick. And I'd also like to mention guys like Kason Parsons out of Osage, who's still in high school. We get to play him every year and everything. And, it's a good time. Like, he's a super good athlete. It's super fun to compete against him. And another good athlete I like to go back to is my sophomore year is Braden Coons from Conway. He was a tank, as well as Carson Spoons from Valley Heights. He was also a tank. They were both big and physical and super fast, so definitely tough to bring down. And another huge one is Brandon Schmesley from Axtell, now at KU. Just an athlete, super good guy too. I played 7-on-7 with him in junior high era and never really knew how to pronounce his last name, so I had to shoot him a text today, and I was like, hey, how do you pronounce your last name? I've known you for all these years and I've never asked. So but yeah, then you got your Keller Hurlas. You used to be in the Mid-East League and we had to play him. in basketball, and I think he had 42 points on us one game.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was just playing against all these guys, and got to play Carter Hayek in a jamboree. I mean, that's one of, if not the best athlete in the state football wise. And all those guys, Porter Dieters and Jack Donovan also. I mean, there's just some studs. It's really hard to narrow the list down to one specific guy because you just play all of these super talented guys that some from small school, or all of these guys are from small schools. So it's really cool that there's that many small school guys that I can mention. And it's a cool opportunity to be able to play against such big guys like that.
Did you have a pretty good idea of just how good each one of those individuals were before you played them? Like, did you have a kind of a scouting report on those guys?
Yeah. I mean, the scouting report didn't work. Like, no matter how, all these guys, no matter how much you scouted them, it was definitely going to be a challenge. And they showed that. They came to Wabaunsee, or we went to wherever they were, and they balled out. I mean, it's really hard to scout a guy like that. That's every single one of these guys is so versatile, and every single one of them, if not most of them, play both sides of the ball, and they're just gamers. They're playmakers. I think Tanner Heckel, Illinois, Kason Parsons, probably going to play college football. Braden Coons is at Northwest in Missouri. Brandon Schmelzley, KU. Carson Spoons is at Dodge. Like, it's just Keller's at Washburn. It's just so many small school guys that are just, they're dogs, really.
Do you enjoy that competition, though? I got to imagine, like, when you know you're going up against somebody that's really good on that other side, do you enjoy that feeling?
Oh, yeah. I mean, knowing that you get an opportunity to showcase your abilities against some of the state's best players week in and week out, it's awesome. It's surreal.
Have you had any good numbers that come to mind against these guys? Do you remember any highlights against these matchups?
Oh, I had like, I think 100 and right around 100 yards rushing in a touchdown in the first half last year against Osage City, and then it got rained out. But against Carson Spoons, I was only a sophomore, but I caught my first varsity touchdown against Valley Heights that year, it was cool.
There you go.
And then Brandon and Tanner, I only got to play against in basketball. But I got to start, and probably I got a couple buckets against Axtell and Linden that year. But yeah, they were just all solid, and it was super cool.
That is Cole Frank with Wabaunsee High School on the football team, and that is our leadoff question. I really love the response from Cole Frank on today's leadoff question, because a lot of times I'll pitch these questions to these players or coaches for the leadoff, and I'll have a certain topic in mind, and they'll give me that one answer, and then we'll kind of move on. Cole was prepared. Like, he had his Post-it notes and had like multiple names on there. Now, it asked for one. He listed like 5 or 6, but that was still really good. He was very prepared for that interview. So thanks to Cole Frank of Wabaunsee joining us for the leadoff question. We'll take a break. We'll be joined with the latest KSHSAA coverage staff writer, Andy Brown, talking about that outdoor volleyball match in the KC area that he attended earlier this month. Andy Brown is next on Kansas Sports Chatter.
The key to a great game is sportsmanship. It is essential to show respect to your opponents, teammates, coaches, and yourself. Playing hard, being fair, and having fun are what sportsmanship is all about. Whether you win or lose, congratulate your team and opponents for their hard work and dedication. Good sportsmanship is about demonstrating integrity, fairness, and respect. Let's show the world what true sportsmanship is all about this season.
Kansas Sports Chatter is not your ordinary sports show. It's fast-paced, has tons of interviews, and is a celebration of all the successes that high school athletics bring us. Hear from statewide guests, the coaches, the players, officials, media personalities, and all the recognizable big names that make high school athletics so great in Kansas. Kansas Sports Chatter, where sports and entertainment collide. Check it out on YouTube or anywhere you download your podcasts. It is story time with KSHSAA Covered, where we get to talk with one of the staff writers with the Kansas State High School Activities Association. And joining us here today is going to be Andy Brown. You're one of the new members of KSHSAA Covered. How have you kind of settled into the new gig, Andy?
Oh, it's going well. I mean, I'm joining a group of three, great writers, and they've really helped me along the way and helped me kind of get used to kind of what they want me to do. And then just getting to know some of the coaches around my coverage area as well has just been a lot of fun.
Well, you were able to, back in early September, able to go ahead and cover and attend the outdoor volleyball match that was hosted by Mill Valley against Piper. When you first walked in, what was your initial reaction when you came into the floor?
It was pretty amazing, to be honest. When I walked up they had it at the Mill Valley Soccer Stadium, and there was just so many people there, people around the court, people packed in the stands. I thought for a minute that maybe I had misjudged the time, and so I thought varsity was playing already. But no, it was the JV varsity match, and there were just so many people cheering these girls on from Mill Valley and Piper, and it was a great experience just to kind of see the girls kind of live in the moment a little bit. I don't think many of them had played in front of that many people before, so it was a cool experience, and a lot of things went right that night, whether it was weather or anything else. I mean, it was a pretty cool event.
As you talked to school officials, did you get any word of kind of what the preparation was like as far as getting that thing ready and being prepared to go?
Yeah, this started back in, I think somebody mentioned to me that it was, over the summer that parents had, approached the school and Coach Corneliuson at Mill Valley about doing something like this. So they started investigating kind of what it would take. And then the AD at Mill Valley, Brent Bouchard, said, he would be willing to do it. They would just need to get sponsors and all that stuff that kind of goes with an event like this. And the parents really pulled it off. They purchased the floor that the girls played on. They got a number of sponsors from around the community to donate to make this event happen. And, it was a cool thing to see a community come together and, put something like this on that, it hadn't been done in a long, long time. So I think Leavenworth did it when I was doing my research back in 2012 they had a cancer awareness event that they did. Leavenworth High School did. And so it had been a long time since something like this happened. And it was really cool to kind of see it come together.
I feel like it's starting to gain some popularity with those indoor sports going outdoor. Obviously Nebraska volleyball did it. So they've moved some basketball games that have gone outdoor that have gone over really well. Any issues that night that came up with having volleyball outdoors, or did it go without a hitch?
Well, to me, it was perfect. I mean, there was no wind, there was no rain. It was a beautiful night. It wasn't humid or anything. I mean, I don't think you could have asked for a better night for outdoor volleyball. And, that was something that a lot of people there at Mill Valley were stressed about, worried about, what would happen if it was really windy or rainy or anything like that. And, but yeah, it went off without a hitch. And I think maybe the only thing that caused any kind of issues was, the girls not used to playing outdoors. There was the depth perception thing was a kind of a little bit of a change for them. And I know talking with this coach out at Piper, a couple days before that, they had a girl bring out a net from her backyard to the school so they could practice for a couple days outdoors just to kind of get a feel for kind of what it was like to play outside. So, but yeah, they couldn't have asked for a perfect evening. It was pretty cool.
What were the girls' reactions afterwards after you talked to them?
I think they were happy. They were excited. Obviously, Mill Valley won. They're the two-time defending, state champions in 6A, and they have a great team coming back. And they couldn't have been happier with the way everything transpired. They were happy to be a part of something new and historic. And I'm pretty sure, a couple of them told me that this is something they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. And, it's just one match and what is going to be a long season for them, but it was something really memorable and something that, no matter how this season transpires for them, they're always going to look back and just remember how cool of a night that was.
Yeah. Did any administrator allude to maybe they're going to do this on a consistent basis, or is it kind of up in the air right now?
I asked the Mill Valley coach that if she'd be interested in doing it again. She's like, I don't know. We'll kind of have to see kind of what happens. But it takes a lot to come for that stuff to come together.
Sure.
But honestly, I could see other schools venturing out and kind of doing the same thing. There's schools in other states that have done outdoor volleyball matches that have been big successes. And, talking with Brent Bashar, the AD over at Mill Valley, he told me they estimated about 2,000 people were there.
Wow.
So I think it's something you could see definitely, at different high schools around the area in the very near future.
Andy, appreciate the time. Keep up the good work.
You bet, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is Andy Brown, one of the staff writers for Acacia Cover, and that'll do it for Storytime. Here's a hard truth. If your business isn't using AI in its marketing, you've already fallen behind. But there's an advertising agency in Kansas that can get you back up to speed. That agency's name is Myers Enterprises Media Research. The name sounds dry because the company's run by engineers, not salespeople. They use superior research and analytics that drive results with surgical precision. Marketing doesn't have to be a gritty battle in the trenches. Your business can win from the box. Visit their website, mediaresearch.agency, to learn more. It is our Quality Time interview on Kansas Sports Chatter, an opportunity to spend a little extra time with our next guests. And today's guest will be Paige McCarthy, the head girls golf coach at Manhattan High School. Coach, appreciate your time and jumping on the show. What's life like in Manhattan right now?
Oh, thank you very much for asking me. It's good. On the golf course, we're having a great time. The girls have started the season out really strong.
You look at the month of September. Is this one of the ideal months to be golfing? Like if you had to have a picture perfect month to golf, what would it be for you?
We have had the best weather. Yeah, it's been great. My perfect is probably July. I love heat, but for the I think it's September, October.
Golf, obviously being the outdoor sport, and there's a lot of other sports that are outdoors, but dealing with those conditions, especially in the game of golf, how interesting does that make it for you when you have to deal with those elements from time to time?
Oh, yeah. I feel like we normally have the best season of weather. The guys in the spring have to fight the conditions a lot more than us. But Monday it was pretty drizzly and overcast and rainy, and some of the younger kids, do we really have to practice? We didn't think we'd have to practice today, and the older ones like, yep, we're going to have to play in this. Let's just get at it.
How do you prepare for those types of weather conditions? So say if it is drizzling or if it is raining and you do have to go out and play, like what are some tips? What's some advice when you do go out in the rain?
I'm thoroughly convinced. I've convinced myself. Hopefully we've convinced the girls that we play better in those conditions. Other players, they're going to, maybe make excuses or not like to play in those conditions, but it's like we thrive in those. And, I think if we talk that up enough, I really do believe it. Some people fall apart, but I think that our girls really play stronger in that. Just work on the mental part of it.
As far as their approach is concerned, if it is raining or bad conditions, is there anything you do differently as far as striking the ball or how your general approach, I guess?
It just kind of depends on the conditions. When it's really windy, we really emphasize don't overswing and just let your swing do the talking and into the wind, just a little bit less even.
Do you scout a course like prior to playing? Like, so the ones that you're familiar with, okay, hey, this is how this one reads or anything like that. But if you're going to a brand new course, is it easy to kind of scout it? Can you get a general scout before you actually start play?
We really do. A lot of courses will take a practice round, or the girls even on the weekend before, they might go down by themselves for league in Junction at Rolling Meadows. We'll probably go over there and play a practice round. We'll do that hopefully anticipating getting to Heston for state. We'll have a practice round, maybe even before the actual date of the practice round. So, yeah, I think it's important, and I'll look online, and they laugh because I make them kind of like cheat sheets for every course and every hole, and it's things that I find online about, distances and how you play each hole. And sometimes it's even the yardage books that are online. So they have that and have access, this green is going to slope left to right, or, hit it in the back of the green, things like that. So I think it's important. We try to when we can.
Why golf for you? When did you start getting interested in golf?
I think I started when I was 10 years old, hated it. And then I picked it up a few years later and liked it. Went to Santa Fe Trail. We didn't have girls golf at the time, so I played on the boys team. And then I came to K-State, didn't do anything my freshman year, and then walked on my sophomore year, and then I played at K-State. And I don't know, I like it just because you can't conquer it. One day you can, and then the next day, you're back to square one sometimes. And I think that's the appeal of it.
Well, you mentioned you hated to start out with. So what switched? Do you remember an exact moment, or, okay, hey, this isn't so bad, I'm going to stick with this?
I was pretty stubborn as a kid, so I think I probably thought it was my dad's idea that I play golf, and then on my own, I decided that maybe I liked it. I don't remember, but knowing me, I'm guessing that was probably the circumstance.
And then going from enjoying the sport sometimes is a natural transition to go into coaching. But when did you kind of get the bug to get into coaching and thought that was a good idea?
I started out teaching at Manhattan Catholic School, and I coached volleyball there. When I was at Santa Fe Trail, I played 3 sports, and I love sports in general. And I always thought I was going to be like Pat Summitt, and I was going to dress nice like her, and I was going to be a really successful college coach. But then I decided once I got into it, that wasn't really the thing for me. And the opportunity arose to be an assistant coach at Manhattan High back in 2001 with Larry Beecraft, coaching legend. And so I did that for 4 years. And then I stopped to help run our kids around to events. And then it opened up again in 2018. And just the timing was right.
What has this experience been like for you guiding the Manhattan girls golf team? How rewarding has it been just for you on an individual basis?
Oh my gosh. You get the best kids. I love the kids in the minor sports like this, and the cross countries and the tennises and at swimming and things like that, because a lot of times they're just really nice kids, and you get to see them on a level that's not in the classroom, and vice versa. They get to see that we kind of like to have fun too, and that's what I like, is just the relationships and hanging around with the kids. And I act like such a dork in the van, and they let me do that. Their mother or their grandmother, they would be horrified, but they allow me to have fun, and I appreciate that. And just being able to hopefully, I may not be a good golfer anymore, but the course management part, if they'll listen, I think I have some pretty good tips for that. So I like that when they actually execute something that we've talked about.
You mentioned starting out as an assistant coach there at Manhattan High School. Then eventually, you took your break. And then when you came back and now going into year 8 for you, like, what was your approach when you first started back as the head coach at Manhattan? Like, what was your approach to just, making sure you had everything figured out?
Well, Kim Cruisenberry, my assistant, and I, we are good friends, and we started at the same time, and we gave ourselves, we wanted the program. It was really strong, and then for several years, maybe there wasn't, they didn't have the teams that they'd had with Coach Beecraft, and so we decided, were 3 years, 5 years tops, we wanted to be back on top with this team. And it's all about the kids and the parents buy-in. If you have athletes and if you have kids that come from golfing families, they understand what it takes to be really good, and they're willing to put in the effort. And these kids, last year's team, this year's team, everything is just lined up, and it's been such a joy to be around them and just let them play. We both have had to learn to coach a little bit differently because we've not had kids of this caliber before, and where normally we'd say, play it safe, do this and that, with these girls, if you feel like you can use your driver there and get it over that tree and get it there or get through that, your game. And so it's been fun. It's been a learning experience for me.
Well, anytime you win a state championship is going to bring excitement, but like great story on just like the tradition of Manhattan High School. Did that make it even more special to kind of get back on the top in Manhattan golf?
Yes, it really did. And as I'm on this side of things, I had twins that played in the women's program. I didn't coach them, but being on the coaching side, you just realize, you ride the wave while you've got it. It's just so those teams that stay on top all the time, they are the ones that are the really good coaches, the really good programs. Sometimes like next year we'll still have Maddie and we'll have some girls that are working really hard, but we'll have to climb up a little bit more. And several of my coaching friends are going through that too. They were up for several years and now they're having to redefine their teams, I guess, and that's what makes it exciting, I think. Humbling also.
Right. Yeah. An ongoing learning experience. For Coach, last question for you. When you look at some of the best golfers, whether they've come through the doors of Manhattan High School or just ones that you've been able to watch, like what makes the best golfers? You would probably want an all-around golfer that's good at everything, but have you noticed like some that are just specifically good at driving or specifically good at chipping or putting that it can kind of take them over the edge? Like what stands out as far as some of the best golfers you've seen?
They would all tell you this too. And anyone that's gone through the Manhattan program way back since I was helping with it with Coach Beecraft, we work a ton on short game. You've heard the drive for show, putt for dough. We very rarely, some of the girls get frustrated because we don't get out on the course very much during practice, but we just work on chipping and putting and chipping and pitching. And I think that's the player that sets themselves apart. And also athleticism. You just can't overstate how if you have an athletic player, they can learn the game pretty well. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, good answer. Coach, hey, I appreciate your time and best luck the rest of the season.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
That is Paige McCarthy, the head girls golf coach at Manhattan High School. That'll do it for our Quality Time interview.
Referees and game officials are a vital part of high school athletics. These men and women take time out of their lives to ensure a safe and fair environment for student athletes. As you attend sporting events this year, keep in mind the hard work and dedication of the officials. Respecting officials and authority figures is one of the most valuable lessons that we can teach our students. The Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Student Advisory Team would like to thank all those who take the time to officiate our competitions.
Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. It is our Faces, Voices, and Riders segment, an opportunity with so many great media personalities throughout the state that cover high school athletics. This is our chance to get to know them a little bit better. Our guest today, Tejay Cleland. He is the sports director for KWCH Television out of Wichita. From Southeast Kansas, does that make you, Tejay, a Northeast Viking?
I am a Northeast Viking. That's correct. My
Nice.
dad was an Arma Bulldog back in the day. My mom was a front neck Raider. My wife's a Girard Trojan, but I'm the Northeast Viking. So
You're the Viking. Okay, so growing up in Southeast Kansas, when did you get the bug to jump into sports journalism?
Oh man, just growing up playing sports, everybody in my family did everything, and watching my brother and watching, everything like that. I wanted to jump right into it and just never knew anything else besides playing sports. And then kind of when I got into high school, Jacob Leonard, I'm not sure if you guys have crossed paths. He's out of the business now. He works at Pittsburgh State. But just the feeling of going to a school where there's 26 kids in my graduating class and we're on the news. Like our football games are on the news. Our baseball games are on the news. It's just like, this is awesome. Like I'm on TV. Like this is so cool. And so going to college, notoriously my advisor always gives me crap about it. I showed up and I enrolled as a physical therapy student because I wanted to be an athletic trainer. And then I took A&P in high school and realized that I cannot do that. And I was like, well, how else can I do sports? And I was like, well, it was pretty cool being on TV whenever I was playing. So that'd be pretty cool to do that for other kids. And so that kind of took me down that route. And it's taken me to so much more than I ever thought. I always tell people that I got into this business to watch high school football, and I've ended up going to a couple Super Bowls. So I can't complain.
Yeah, it's not a bad gig at all. So looking at your bio, TJ, going to Newman and being part of that baseball team and obviously jumping into kind of sports media at that time as well while you're in college, was it easy for you to determine like what specifically you wanted to do? Because I know for like many people, when you go to college, you're like, you might be doing some broadcasting as far as play-by-play. You might be doing some writing and also some video production. Was it easy for you to kind of pinpoint exactly what you wanted to do with sports broadcasting?
Well, I guess in college, I would say it was easy for the fact that Newman, we have a student newspaper, and that was the only thing that we really had, basically. So I learned how to write for the newspaper, first of all, and kind of just the idea once I realized what I wanted to kind of get into with the media side of it is that I was like, whatever I can do to just find myself on a sideline at some point, like I'm just going to chase down that. So started learning how to write for the newspaper, did all that stuff. And then after about 2 years of doing that, I was like, well, I think the TV side would be pretty cool just because growing up, obviously I like watching TV more than I like reading. I'm an average human, I guess. So I was like, I'll try that out. I did an internship back at KOAM back home, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is really cool.
So being there at Newman in the Wichita area and then starting now at KWCH, almost going into year 4 for you coming up in January, you mentioned, like for you, was it an easy transition? What was that hiring process like as you got started at KWCH?
Yeah, so it was pretty nuts. It's a kind of a wild story. So I was playing baseball. I stopped playing after 2 years. I was coaching a little bit that fall semester of my junior year, and I was going to graduate that spring. I coached at Newman under Drew Mouse, who's no longer there anymore, but it was a ton of fun. But I could see the writing on the walls. Like, you know what? I like sports a lot, but I don't think I'm the best coach at it. I need to find another route to still be in sports. And I was like, I'm just going to go see what I can do. Ended up just kind of looking at TV jobs. Found one, applied for a couple of them, ended up getting hired at KWCH. I was originally supposed to be the Western Kansas reporter, so I was supposed to live up by Salina and cover everything off I-70 and drive all around the state. And the reason I did it is because I was going to get to cover high school football in Hayes on Friday nights and everything like that. So took that job in January of 2022 while I was still finishing school. So I was a full-time student at Newman, and I was on TV doing that whole thing. And I was still 20 at the time too. So all my coworkers would give me a bunch of crap that I couldn't go out with them after we were done working at the end of the night. So it was chaos. I was still doing the student newspaper too, on top of reporting on TV that day. I don't really know how I did it. I don't know if I could do it if I went back and did it, but it was a blessing in disguise, I guess, because it's led to so much more. It was really fun at the time, and looking back, there's just a lot of good memories.
TJ, being from Southeast Kansas and now working at KWCH and doing what you love and get to do that, I got to imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, there's like kind of maybe a sense of pride for you because not only are you getting to do what you love, but you're also getting to be on television, in the States and even in the community where you grew up.
Yeah, I always tell people that, I don't really care about being on TV. Like, I would do my entire job if my face never had to be on the screen. But I understand that's the nature of this job. You kind of have to do that part of it as well. But, people always talk about in the TV business, everybody always moves on up and, goes to whatever city and climbs the ladder and gets bigger and bigger and aims for the big goals and everything like that. And, I've talked about that. I've thought about it. But the fact of the matter is that I am from Kansas. I grew up as a Chiefs fan, as a Royals fan, as a KU fan. K-State's grown on me. I like K-State a lot now. I wasn't a K-Stater growing up. But these are the teams that I like watching. If I wasn't working at KWCH, I'd be sitting on my couch watching the Royals, watching the Chiefs. And so the fact that I get to report on these things, I take a ton of pride in that. And then obviously the high school side of it, there's a lot of ties. A lot of people around here know where Arma, Kansas is. A lot of these people know who the people that I grew up with are and everything like that. And especially, I went to a 2A high school, getting to go to, I was in Gypsum a couple of weeks ago talking to Southeast of Saline, and I was like, I know what these kids are feeling like because I grew up in a 2A high school in the small town, football, Friday nights, everything like that. And so I do take a lot of pride in that. Yeah.
You mentioned, you've been able to cover some big-time games already in your career. You mentioned Super Bowls and MLB playoffs and KU, K-State, Wichita State. But how much pride do you take in that coverage of high school sports? Do you kind of realize the importance of that, especially in the state of Kansas, just how important it is for that coverage of high school sports?
Yeah, obviously we talk about sometimes in the newsroom is that, you look at, other stations in different markets and everything like that. And like Chelsea Croft, for example, used to work with us a couple of years ago. She grew up in the Baltimore area, went to college up in Maryland. And then she came down here and did the whole Catch It Kansas scene. And she was like, these kids don't even understand. Like, they don't understand how well they have it here. Like the situation that the state of Kansas provides for these kids compared to if these kids grew up in Baltimore, they'd never get any coverage. Like they might get the one-off magazines and everything like that. And so there's a lot of pride in giving these kids the platform that, they deserve. And there's a lot of great stories. For us, we cover right around 200 high schools in our coverage area. We go from Emporia to Goodland, and everything in that span is ours. And I've made the drive to, probably about 100 of those schools at least. I've been all over the state already. And so for them to have a chance to, be on TV, for their parents to be on TV, this is the last time that they're going to play a sport sometimes. Sometimes they're going to go on to go be an NFL player. We've seen that from Blake Bell, kids in the Wichita area, things like that. And so either way it goes, if you're reporting on a kid that's just starting the beginning of their journey where they're going to go on and have a ginormous career, or if it's, little Timmy's last high school football game ever, they're both awesome stories. And we just take pride in giving those a place to live. And there's just so many good stories.
All right, most challenging thing of your job, TJ, and a quick story here. Hopefully I can make it quick. I'm an old man, but a long time ago I did an internship there for a television station in Wichita, and they would send me out to what was the Wichita Wrangler games, and I would go out there and I would shoot highlights or whatever from the press box up top above home plate. And the way they taught me was like I would zoom in either to the batter or maybe I'd get a little bit wider shots of the batter and the pitcher. And if he popped one up in the outfield or hit a home run, I was to follow the baseball. So like you got to track it. You got to find the baseball, track it. That to me, I thought was the most difficult thing whatsoever. What's the most challenging parts of your job?
Yeah, that hasn't changed. Baseball is still impossible to shoot.
Okay.
I'm at the point now where it's like when the batter hits one, you just go to the center fielder and see which way he's going to go. Like I have no idea where the baseball is through that little camera. You get lucky sometimes. The most challenging part, obviously we've worked so much with the cameras and shooting highlights and everything like that. I would say the most difficult part that you kind of grow on, and I think that I tell people it's kind of molded me into a better person because of this is the nightly deadlines. It's completely different than any other job outside of media. Basically, I always talk about, like if you're an accountant, could you imagine having a deadline of 8 hours every single day? Like that's what we have to do. You get into work and you have to have everything done by 9 o'clock because if you don't have it, you're going to go on TV with nothing to show. And so the internal timer and everything like that. The Friday nights get crazy. We've had the ones where the game ends at 10:25 and we have a 30-minute show starting at 10:30, and it's how fast can you do this and get an interview and fire up your live unit and just ad lib off the cuff and get something on air. It's crazy, but whenever you get it done, it's just so much fun and like gets the heart pumping, and it's the closest thing that you can find to playing sports, I think.
We'll put you on the spot here before we let you go, TJ. Most rewarding story, especially if you have a high school one, but most rewarding story that you've been able to cover since starting at KWCH?
Man, I've had some good ones. Some that just come to mind, Mitch Budke. I don't know if you know that name. He was a Chase County guy, stud quarterback, stud athlete, ended up in an accident with a firework, and it basically, lost his right hand. And that was in like the fall. It was after football season. He was committed to go play football at Emporia State, and it happened that late into his school year, and by baseball season, he taught himself how to throw left-handed and swing a bat with one hand, and he was Chase County's leadoff hitter. And so stories like that are crazy. There was a story out of Elkhart about a pitcher that got into an accident where he didn't have vision in his left eye. And so when he looked at home plate, he had to turn his head extra so he could see the catcher because through his right eye. It's unbelievable. Like I always tell people, like I email every single athletic director that we have in our coverage area and just ask, just open-ended question, like what do you got? Like, what's the craziest thing? Like, who are the athletes that have overcome the adversity? And 50% of them have them, in whatever degree that may be. It may be somebody tore their ACL last year, or maybe somebody got into a something way worse or something like that, and they found a way to overcome the adversity and put it on the field. And that's the best part of the job, I think. Obviously you get to go to all these games and do all this stuff, which is obviously really cool, and it's the pretty part of the job and everything like that. But just getting to meet so many people, whether it be through the adversity or through their triumphs, and just I always tell my phone contact book is unbelievable throughout these 4 years, and I've got some really awesome people that I've gotten to know, and that's the best part of the job is the connections that you get to make throughout this.
TJ, appreciate the time. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, man.
That is Tejay Cleland, the KWCH sports director out of Wichita, joining us for Faces, Voices, and Riders. Are you looking for a new way to promote your business or organization? Do you want to get your message out to a statewide audience that loves high school sports in both urban and rural areas? Kansas Sports Chatter has advertising opportunities from commercials, sponsoring specific guests, product placements, and even a premier sponsorship. Let Kansas Sports Chatter promote your brand. Contact ksportschatter@gmail.com for more advertising details. That's ksportschatter@gmail.com. Come join the chatter. Welcome back on to Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time to talk some football. And to help us out with the segment today, we bring in Ben Mitchum. He is one of the scouts for the Prep Redzone of Kansas. Ben, appreciate you jumping back on the show. I know you've been busy as we get started with the high school football season, and you've seen a lot of guys. I want to start with the 8-man. Let's go with an 8-man football discussion here today. And you saw some really good ones at the Jamboree, and obviously with the season started as well. But who are some of the guys out in central western Kansas on the 8-man level that stood out to you?
First of all, thanks for having me on again, Cole. I was out there at Ellis for the Jamboree, where they had the host Ellis, Wichita County, Victoria, and Hoxie. So I saw some of the very top 8-man 1, 8-man 2 programs in the western part of the state. So it was definitely exciting to see who returned, who graduated. But nonetheless, it was really good football. So I guess I'll start off talking about the host school, Ellis. This past season, there was their very first year playing 8-man football. So they did actually pretty well, going 5-4 under Coach Bryant Eichman and everything. They do graduate Caleb Knoll, who signed with Fort Hays, but they do return the Sharts brothers. Trenton Sharts, who was a freshman this past season, and Carson Sharts, who will be a senior this year. They are their main weapons for Ellis. This past year, Trenton, as a freshman, who also plays defensive end, had nearly 2,000 of total offensive yards and 37 touchdowns. He's a big kid. He's about 6'1", 6'2", 215 pounds. So he's a load already. And his brother Carson had roughly around about 559 yards rushing and 9 touchdowns last season. But it's on the defensive side of the ball that he is the main weapon, where last year he led the Railroaders with 99 tackles. So they'll definitely be a team to watch for as they rise up in the 8-man ranks. Ellis is somebody that may be new to the 8-man game, but they definitely showed that they could stay on the field with Victoria, Wichita County, and Hoxie.
I want to say Victoria for last, but let's go with Wichita County. I mean, right there with Victoria as well. I mean, you talk about a powerhouse in 8-man football. What was the talent level they had?
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, last year, Hoxie knocked Wichita County out in the playoffs in the quarterfinals. That score was 40-30, Wichita County had been in the state title game the prior 2 years. The year before, they lost to Linden in the state title game. 2 years ago, they beat South Central in the state title game. South Central's a team you really have to keep an eye on in 8-man one, just like with Wichita County. But when we're talking to Wichita County, they do graduate Chris Hermosillo. That is a big blow because he was a 3-time all 8-man one selection. But they do return their main weapon from skill position guy from last season and quarterback Cash Dunyan. He looks like a running back. They mostly play him like a running back, but this past season he rushed over 1,500 yards and had 26 touchdowns. So he will be the main weapon for Wichita County. But you can't forget about Bo Porter, who was a freshman last year, and cornerback Dylan Luna. Both of them will be major weapons for Wichita County. They're big up front and they're very aggressive defensively. So they'll definitely have a really good shot under Coach Brant Douglas to try to get back to state again.
You look at Hoxie and Lance Bauer and the Indians able to secure that state championship last year, Ben. What did you see from Hoxie? I mean, that's hard to repeat at that level.
I mean, they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them. I mean, Coach Bauer has won now 2 state titles in 8-man one. He has done a tremendous job there for the Indians, but he has his hands full, I mean, this coming season. They lost 10 seniors last year, and they only returned 2 seniors this year. Sure, they are 2 all-staters in Matt Bretz and Javon Catchell. Catchell's about a 6-foot, 280-pound lineman. Bretz was about 6'1", 200 pounds, had 106 tackles last season, 9 tackles for loss, and 3 interceptions. In the 8-man football, he will be one of the more highly regarded defensive players. But when you lose such players like Duncan Bell, Easton Nicholson, Sam Watkins, and Trent Finner, who are all first-team all-staters in 8-man one, it's definitely a blow. I mean, they held their own, but they definitely – this may be a little bit of a rebuilding year for Hoxie.
All right, Victoria Knights. Okay, I feel like everyone that I run into, they're hyping up Victoria Knights, and rightfully so. I mean, Doug Oberle's had some phenomenal teams and has secured some state championships, and a lot of people are talking about maybe this is a Victoria team that can maybe compete a little bit better against an Axtell team that lost a lot from last year. Now, until somebody beats Axtell, Ben, I'm going to continue to go with them, but Victoria might be that team this year.
Yes, Coach Oberle, he already has 4 state titles for the Knights. 8 overall for Victoria. It could be 5-9 this year. I mean, last year they steamrolled through everybody, pretty much averaging 60 points a game. Got to the state title game, faced that 4-time state champion Axtell team, and they lost. Well, I mean, the score last year, it was like 50-0 against Axtell. I mean, no shame. I mean, with how loaded Axtell was. But Victoria, they only graduated really 2 of their main kids from last season. Quarterback Wyatt Griffin, linebacker Kate Brown. But, I mean, they're loaded for bear. I mean, they bring back running back Weston Shearer, who is talking about a load, about 5'10", 245 pounds. I think 200 pounds of it's all in his legs. I mean, brings the hurt. He ran over like 1,058 yards and 17 touchdowns last season. Even though they play so many games where they 45 opponents, he'll put up big numbers this year. They'll definitely give him the ball to him very heavily. Of course, you got Cal Husser, regardless of classification, one of the better interior linemen in the state, about 6'3", 270 pounds. But they are not the only 2 that are big time for the Knights. They also return Matt Pfeiffer, who added 770 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns himself last year. And also Ethan Von Lintel is a major threat at the receiver position. So it's the line, it's the skill position. They'll have to find a quarterback to step up for Griffin that graduated, but they really took it to everybody, even Wichita County. I know it's just a jamboree, but if there was going to be a team or a year that they were going to knock off Axtell, Victoria is that team. They're very experienced.
All right. I'm starting to buy in more and more. Ben, appreciate the time, and we'll let you get back out on that scouting trail.
Yes. Thank you. Take care, Cole.
That has been Mitchum with Prep Redzone Kansas. That'll do it for our football chatter.
Whether it's a Friday night football game or a Saturday Scholars Bowl tournament, there are many people behind the scenes to make these activities function. The Kansas State High School Activities Association and the Student Advisory Team would like to thank all those who make these events happen for our students. Without school administrators, event workers, custodians, officials, transportation personnel, and office staff, these events would not be possible. Your hard work and dedication allow students throughout the state to participate in the activities that they love.
It is Next Level Talents on Kansas Sports Chatter, our opportunity to talk to former high school athletes in the state of Kansas that are now competing at a college or university in Kansas. Today's guest is Lexi Bauer, a member of the Newman University soccer team and out of Maize South High School. Lexi, appreciate you jumping on the show today, but also for you, like now as sophomore, what's year 2 like at Newman compared to that first year last season for you?
Yeah, last season it definitely didn't go the way we wanted with wins and everything, but this year has definitely, I've already seen improvement. Really all of our team has bought into our brand this year of really wanting to win and wanting to put our best foot forward in order to do that. And it's just been great to see all the growth and everything that people have brought into this. We have all returners pretty much this year except for a couple, and I'm just really proud to see everyone step it up a notch and get our first win.
Your high school days at Maize South, what was that experience like for you, and especially in the soccer program?
Yeah, at Maize South, it was definitely a great ride, I'd say. We made it to state all 4 years. We placed 4th, but we still made it. I was a varsity captain for 2 years, so it was a really big honor to be able to lead my team to that. And we were just overall a dominating team, a lot of talent, highly competitive. And we won the regular season many, many times, and it was just a great team to be a part of. Everyone was really close, and I just really enjoyed my time there.
You mentioned your senior year there at state. You guys ended up finishing in 4th, but you had a couple wild games in there. What do you remember about that semifinal matchup with Blue Valley Southwest, a 7-5 shootout?
Yeah, it was insane. We have a lot of great forwards who will score. One of them being D1 right now, so it was really hard to lose that game, I'd say, just because we scored so many. But I think towards the end, we played it a little bit hesitant, and that's kind of what got us. But overall, I'm still really proud of my team for being able to put that much against Blue Valley. That was definitely a big accomplishment for us compared to the past years.
Anything that you learned at Maize South playing soccer that you've really kind of kept with you and has helped you succeed now at the next level?
I would just say the competitiveness, like always knowing that someone's going to want your spot and want where you are, and just kind of using that as motivation to work hard each day, but also lift up your teammates because you all are working together at the end of the day. And I'd just say the competitiveness, it really helped carry over to Newman and make me want to win the games, want to work hard, and, encourage my team to the best of my abilities.
Being a defender, did you always know you liked the defensive side of things a little bit more? When did you kind of settle in on that position?
Yeah, all I remember my whole life is I was just a defender. Like, that's how I was. Even when I was young, like I started playing when I was 4, and I would always just want to stop the ball from going in the goal. Like, that's all I wanted to do. So I definitely knew from when I was young.
Starting 14 games as a freshman last year at Newman University, what was that experience like for you going into year 1?
Yeah, I was definitely very grateful, and it kind of just helped me know that all my hard work paid off, and I was glad to be able to contribute to the team in that way. So overall, I was just very excited and happy to be able to start that amount of games, and definitely will not take that for granted. I really enjoyed it.
Well, going to Maize South and now at Newman, I see the proximity, but what was going into your thought process when you chose Newman as your college destination? What was the recruiting process like?
Yeah, the coaches were very welcoming, the environment also, and all the girls, they just were very accepting to me being like a younger player. They were all very accepting. It was also very close to home, which I liked, and I was able to have my degree that I wanted. I wanted to go into sonography, so that also helped. And I was just able to continue the competitive play at a really good conference, D2 conference, one of the best in the country. And I was just really excited to be able to continue that competitive play. And also I played for Dylan the last year of club, and I just really enjoyed his coaching and being able to play for him. So I was excited to carry over that to Newman.
What is college life like as an athlete, and what adjustments have you made, especially compared to, competing at the high school level and now as a collegiate athlete? So what's that adjustment like?
It's definitely a lot in the college level, like balancing school and soccer. Like this past weekend, we traveled 4 hours on the bus, and I just wrote my whole essay for my class on the bus. And, it's just finding that balance and finding time to when you're able to do all these things, schoolwork, and a lot of communication between your coaches and your teachers, just making sure you stay on top of everything.
Was soccer always kind of obviously one of your strengths growing up and in high school, and it's gotten to the points, but was that always kind of a full-time experience for you? Because you look at, now college where, it's kind of a year-round thing. Were you used to that already before you reached Newman?
Yeah, I would say I was, just because I was playing club, traveling to Kansas City like every weekend, playing for Dylan as well. And at Maize South, we'd get in there January, we were already starting conditioning. Like, it was just year round. We'd get Christmas off and they'd be like, okay, we're back. It just was never ending.
Hey, Lexi, appreciate your time and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
That is Lexi Bauer, a member of the Newman University soccer team and at a Maize South High School, and that'll do it for our next level talents. Are you a person that's always on the go? You can still easily keep up with Kansas Sports Chatter with the audio podcast. Hear each episode on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to follow the Kansas Sports Chatter podcast. Episode number 11 of Kansas Sports Chatter is a wrap and is our first show that is officially into the season of fall. So go do some fall things right now. Go get a pumpkin latte, go buy a scarf, dress in all plaid, go to a pumpkin patch. Fall's here, baby. Let's enjoy it. That's going to do it for the show. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. We'll be back at it on a Thursday with shows coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. To officially close out the show today, we'll hear the sounds of a radio broadcaster, Jesy Strnad, who covers Republic County and also a lot of area teams out of Belleville, Kansas. Enjoy the sounds of Jesy Strnad.
And the snap goes by his head. Jasper turning around, falls on the ground. He's running for it, picks it up. Jasper stepping out of the back, and no, he doesn't step out. He throws the ball away, and there's Aiden Morris. Aiden Morris standing there in the end zone with the ball. Buffaloes will score 6-0. They take the lead. Aiden Morris with the pick 0, standing in the end zone.